Goeiedag. Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And I know this is not South Africa. I know this is the United States of America, but I do have a comment to make here. Derek Chauvin, the man who put his knee on George Floyd's neck for nearly 10 minutes, and the claims are that that's what caused Floyd to die. Although there's certainly a lot of evidence that was presented in court that suggested other reasons why he died. But he's been found guilty on all three counts by a jury. And if you look at the media reporting leading up to this decision, you can imagine what would have happened to those jurors if they hadn't worked as the Black Lives Matter movement had demanded they do. Minneapolis would have been on fire. So what you have here is, I'm not suggesting that this policeman didn't make mistakes, but he was doing his job. And all I'm suggesting is that if that was a white person in a similar situation who had the knee on the neck, this wouldn't have heard any media coverage. It would have just been under the bridge. This whole George Floyd thing to me just epitomizes why America is broken. I'm going to say no more than that. I think America is completely broken now. It's like when you've got a house and the foundations break. They talk about the back of the house being broken because you find there's cracks in the wall and stuff like that. America is broken like that house. You can't put it back together again because the foundations are completely screwed. It's very, very sad. And of course, having Joe Biden running the place certainly doesn't help. Here comes the video of the decision against Derek Chauvin. Please remember to register on lovinglifetv.com. Please remember to subscribe to our Loving Life YouTube channel. Please remember to like this video. Please remember to share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.
Are standing right now.
Please be seated.
They take their seats.
Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court File Number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, Juror Foreperson, Juror Number 19. Same caption, verdict Count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by Jury Foreperson, Juror Number 19. Same caption, verdict Count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury Foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror Number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror Number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror Number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror Number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror Number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror Number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror Number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So, all rise for the jury. All right, be seated. With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely, you may file a written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
Your Honor, the state would move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further?
Oh,
All right. Thank you.
Derek Chauvin, convicted on all 3 counts, guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in the death of George Floyd, and leaving the courtroom in handcuffs.
We're adjourned.
Chauvin remanded in the custody of the sheriff in anticipation of his sentencing. Now, 8 weeks from now, we want to go right to NBC's Gabe Gutierrez outside the courthouse. Gabe, describe the reaction.
Lester, it's just an incredible reaction here. A few moments ago, this entire crowd erupted in cheers. They started chanting all 3 counts. And the reaction can best be summarized by Bree Graham. She's the woman I spoke with just before this verdict was read, who told us that she had been traumatized watching this trial. Bree, what is your reaction? And when that verdict was read, what went through your head?
I honestly, I don't really have the words for it right now, and I'm trying to take everything in. And it feels like we can take the day to celebrate that we're finally getting a taste of justice, and then tomorrow we move on to Dante, and we keep doing this until they give us what we need across the board, you know?
Bree, a few moments ago, I saw you you started crying. It was emotional for not just you, but many folks here. Explain to me a little bit more about, what did you have doubts leading into this verdict? How much anticipation, how worried were you about this?
Of course I had doubts. We have doubts every time something happens. I mean, we have doubts when the police say that he's unarmed and, Adam Toledo had his hands up. We have doubts when they lie about what the cameras are. We always have doubts, and this was definitive, and this was solidified, and we finally got the justice that we needed. People see it on the news and they don't understand, but living here and breathing this energy in every single day, it's so much, and it finally feels like the smoke has cleared just a tiny bit, enough just to take a deep breath,
Bree, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself. You were telling me you're 31 years old. You've lived in Minneapolis for how long? 10 years?
Yeah, over 10 years in St. Paul and Minneapolis, and this is what I would call home. My friends are here, some of my most important families here. Incredibly significant moment. I'm glad we were able to share this with you, Bree. Thank you so much for talking with us. Yeah. And again, we appreciate your time. Lester, what she told me is something we saw unfold here just within the last few minutes. If we can look around, this is
demonstrators that had gathered here, they all gathered close together to watch the verdict unfold live on their cell phones. And they all gathered in small groups, and some of the feeds came in just a few seconds before the others. Different people were yelling guilty on that first count. And then I think once the second and the third count came in, guilty, there was just a wave that just rippled across this crowd. And I think if I could sum it up in one word, Lester, it is relief. Relief from a crowd that had been waiting for this verdict for months. Relief from a community that had seen razor wire and barricades and boarded up buildings just engulf downtown Minneapolis. Relief from people like Bree Graham, who did not know what would happen and who told us how this is something she'd been waiting for. And now the question becomes, is this just about George Floyd? What about Dante Wright? What about other police encounters that are still very much on the minds of the demonstrators here?